Grandpa, the HOA woman's on the fence again, I yelled, clutching a half-eaten Pop-Tart gazing out the kitchen window as Margaret Hensley, the Maple Grove Homeowners Association's most formidable enforcer, hoisted one bony leg over our 6-foot fence like she was in a low-budget action movie. Her neon vest glowed, her clipboard shone, and she taped foam pads to her knees, maybe to prevent another fall like last week, but her eyes blazed with a zealot's fire, the type that says she'd swim through molten lava to catch a crooked mailbox. Grandpa Walt on the porch swing didn't look up from his coffee. Fourth time this week, he grumbled she's asking for it now. This wasn't merely about a fence, it was about power turf and a battle over lawn flamingos, solar lanterns and wind chimes that were considered too cheerful. It began 3 months ago when Grandpa Walt moved in to keep an eye on me. Ethan, a 15-year-old gamer while my parents were overseas for work, Grandpa, a retired Navy engineer with too many tools and not enough patience, saw the HOA as a personal insult by week 1. Margaret's first strike was a petty fine for our mailboxes, unapproved teal shade. Then she called Grandpa's flamingo collection a visual blight, but the real spark was when we caught her in our yard measuring our alias like a crime scene tech. No warning, no knock. She asserted HOA bylaws granted her boundary override authority. Grandpa almost coughed up coffee that night. He disappeared into the garage for 6 hours. We assumed he was constructing a bird feeder. We were mistaken now that Margaret scales our fence yet again. It all came flooding back. Last week, she'd face planted into our koi pond in pursuit of a non-compliant garden flag. Her waterlogged loafers left tracks on the lawn. Grandpa had laughed then. But today he was too subdued. Margaret landed in a crouch, scuttling toward the herb garden like a bureaucrat run wild. Grandpa sipped his coffee, looked at the porch camera feed, and smirking. "Watch this," he said. A sharp click severed the air. A secret sprinkler burst forth and doused her with green-tinged water. Grandpa's special blend of food coloring and peppermint oil, sworn to keep deer and busy bodies at bay. She yelped, slipped, and fell into the oregano. "You're trespassing," I called from the doorway. She stumbled up clipboard, held aloft like a shield. Her vest strap strolled over, opened the gate, and said, "No need to climb out exits here." She brushed by, grumbling about lawsuits. He presented her with a laminated sign. Trespassers may be sprayed by lunch. Our neighbor Tim had leaked the video to the neighborhood chat, captioned, "Green Goblin down porch, Admiral wins." Someone replied, "Popcorn for the rematch." At dinner, Grandpa threw a bombshell. "We're wiring the gate tomorrow," he told, pushing aside his meatloaf. I choked on my Sprite. "Is that legal?" "Only if she's dumb enough to grab it," he smiled. The garage was his war room, blueprints stuck on walls, timers and wires overflowing the workbench. I swore I saw him experiment with a sensor using a cantaloupe for a guy who hadn't worn a uniform in decades. This was his battlefield, and he was enjoying it that night on the porch. I asked, "Why do you hate her so much?" He rocked quietly, then said, "She thinks she owns us, sneaks into our yard, makes rules. Nobody voted for people like that. They steal your freedom." It clicked. This wasn't about flamingos, it was about dignity. The garage looked like a mad scientist's lair, cables snaking over toolboxes, soda cans stacked like trophies, the air thick with fumes of solder. Grandpa revealed his invention, the Gate Zapper 3000. It was a low-voltage circuit on the side gate activated by a motion sensor with a camera rigged to a birdhouse. For evidence that night, we camped 2 lawn chairs, a bag of burritos, and Grandpa's vintage night vision goggles. We waited quiet, the gate shining like a trap. "This is most likely illegal," I whispered, munching. "Only if we post it online." He added, "And only if she sues at 1:47 a.m. The sensor flickered. Margaret emerged wearing black, her clipboard fastened like a sniper's rifle, her hoodie saying, "Order is unity." She slithered under the roses and climbed the gate, grumbling about illicit trellises. As her hand touched the wired vine, a gentle zap flashed. She jumped 1 sneaker flying and yelled loud enough to wake the block. She fell into the mulch dazed, then limped away, cursing invisible bylaws. Grandpa picked his burrito in victory. Now she'll show us. Respect by morning. Tim had dubbed the shots with cartoon sound effects and uploaded it zap and crash. It went viral, local meme accounts, then Reddit, then a viral TikTok with circus music by evening. Grandpa was Gate Admiral trend-ing everywhere teens on X reenacted Margaret's tumble. I pleaded with Grandpa to take it down. He shrugged. If I get arrested, tell him to get my name straight. But the HOA struck back harsh. A manila envelope came with stamps. Urgent violation. Margaret's script yelled rage to Walter James Carson. Your electrified gate violates codes of safety. Remove it in 24 hours, or else face the law. Grandpa read it in a taunting tone. Frying bacon. They got the word deterrent wrong. I looked. You're halting, right? He gestured to the camera feed that clipboards the true threat. I grew anxious. Pranking Margaret was one thing. Ignoring an HOA with lawyers was another, but Grandpa was electric, calling the yard, his DMZ and drawing Zapper 2.0. He gave me an emergency walkie-talkie that night. A hum aroused me outside. A drone circled its red light, blinding labeled Maple Grove HOA surveillance. I pounded on Grandpa's door. He looked out, popcorn clutched, they're spying. I spit, he narrowed, then smiled. Time to teach it. Manners. The next day, Maple Grove was a circus neighbor's reshuffled lawn chairs for better looks. At a still of the Zap video was posted on the bulletin board. The shock felt throughout the block. The HOA distributed an emergency meeting brochure seeping with passive-aggressive poison order. Must reign supreme. Grandpa buttered his toast. Undisturbed, the clubhouse was crammed. Fluorescent lights, stale cookies, and enough tension to kill a room. Margaret sat at the board table, neck brace on Band-Aids sprinkled on her arms. To her left was Victor Clean, HOA president, real estate tycoon, and owner of a tone so smug that it could curdle milk. He stood with his hands clasped like a preacher. Our community is besieged by reckless disobedience. He glared and yawned at Grandpa. This charged gate assault on an officer is chaos. Margaret, fake coughed. Tim grumbled. She climbed his fence. Victor raised his hand. Effective at once, Walter Carson will be fined $600 a day. Retroactive gasps echoed my jaw dropped. That was thousands. If he continues, Victor sneered, we'll seek trespass, endangerment, and harassment charges. Grandpa stood slow and calm. I've rebuilt tanks under fire, he said. I've seen men weep over broken radios, but I've never seen a woman sneak into my yard, then cry foul when she trips. I didn't zap the street. I protected my home. She endangered herself. Tim clapped, others joined. Grandpa faced Victor. You want order. Respect my property line. You don't rule my porch unless you're paying my taxes. Victor's face turned beet red. Court it is, he spat. Grandpa smiled. I'm free Wednesdays. The neighborhood exploded. Gate Admiral became a hashtag. Sides formed, the HOA doubled down, sending drones bigger, meaner, tracking Grandpa like a fugitive. He spent a day in the garage with his buddy Carl on speaker, building a counter-drone buster, a repurposed leaf blower with LEDs and a speaker blaring static one night. Buster chased an HOA drone, blinding it with light bursts. It fled wobbling, but the following day 3 drones buzzed, scanning our yard like sci-fi police. Victor was flipped out. A news team appeared. A reporter, Sarah Vega, interviewed Grandpa for a soundbite. I fought for this country, he muttered. If somebody's counting my flamingos, they'd better have a warrant. The segment went viral with memes of Grandpa brandishing a hose like a flamethrower. Flamingo Freedom trended. The HOA put up signs, no unauthorized photography. Then a bulky envelope came from the Regional Homeowners Association, blaming Grandpa for surveillance disruption. That evening, a drone lowered a box on our front yard, a small flamingo carrying a Unity Through Rules banner. Grandpa set it next to Buster. Let him send trinkets, he said. We're not finished. Then the neighborhood snapped. It began small. Mrs. Kim added a flamingo next to her mailbox. The Millers put out 4, one a pirate costume. Soon lawns were filled with flamingos, hundreds. A pink rebellion. Victor sent fines $100 for lawn debris, $600 for inciting. He attempted to take a flamingo and was chased by a poodle. Grandpa remained silent, conspiring. He constructed a small drawbridge across the garden path, sign saying, Area of Freedom. Trespassers will be entertained. It's sold as merchandise online. Victor broke 3 days later. banging on our door. "You're done. Carson," he bellowed, waving documents. "You infringed emergency bylaws. No porch sitting. No gardening. That's not actual." "I told it is now." He snarled unanimous board vote. "You're the board," Grandpa said. Then the street came alive. Mrs. Kim set a flamingo outside our gate. Tim set one with a Buster rule sign. Neighbors poured out, stacking flamingos. Cowboys, chefs, superheroes. "A quiet man, Mr. Lee handed Victor a petition to have you taken out," he said. Victor stuttered. "You can't! We're reshaping the rules." Mrs. Kim said. Victor stepped back, speechless. Margaret, late and braced, ran to her car by dawn. Victor's yard was empty. Rumors had him having fled to Nevada. The HOA didn't pass away. It adapted. Neighbors voted in a reasonable board, eliminated drone patrols, and removed the flamingo ban. Buster received a foil medal. Grandpa simply rocked, stating, "It's not about winning, it's about reminding people they can be peculiar." A post I did, "The Maple Grove Mutiny became a thing. A late-night talk show asked us to New York TSA triple scan Buster on TV." Grandpa declared, "Some lady thought my fence was her playground. I just gave her a spark." The crowd roared. He skipped book deals and sponsorships. "Too many rules," he said back home. Kids biked by tourists, snapped Buster pics, and a mural, "Rose Grandpa amid flamingos," captioned, "Guard your yard." The new HOA sent an apology. Margaret vanished to a smile. Mandated condo in Florida one day. Grandpa handed me a letter, a tech camp scholarship sparked by my Buster work. "They're lucky to have you," he told me. Lingered on the porch wind chimes, humming a new HOA fellow at our fence, clipboard in hand. Grandpa snapped the camera remote. "Welcome to Maple Grove," he said. Buster faced the gate.